Hello friends, and welcome back to Acting Like an Actor. I'm your host, Sophie Jordan Collins, and this week we have writer, director, and filmmaker Michael Matteo Rossi. Michael is known for his films such as Censor Addiction and Charisma Killers and about 800 more. This episode is honestly filmmaking for dummies because Michael was so kind to just let me ask any and all questions about filmmaking. We talk about all the nitty-gritty stuff like how to practically fund a film, how to find a distributor for your film, burnout as a filmmaker, how to actually sit down and write a feature film-length script, and so much more. If you're wanting to make a film, this episode is for you. If you're an actor and want to know what filmmakers look for in their actors, this episode is for you. If you're a Michael Matteo Rossi fan and you want to know how he broke into the business, his random jobs before he became a director, and so much more, this episode is for you. Let's go.
Are you rich?
Are you famous?
What have you been on?
I don't really recognize you, and neither does my mom.
Can you laugh?
Can you cry on command?
I mean, you said you were an actor, man.
What's your backup plan? Is it shattered?
Dude, I'm just acting like an actor.
The question we always start with,
Yes.
at Acting Like an Actor,
Yes.
is what is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
It's a really good question. I think it is working at your craft almost every day that you can, staying consistent. That is super important. Even if, look, as you're an actor, you obviously can't be on set every day.
Mhm.
We all wish we could, but practicing lines, practicing monologues, even studying certain films, studying certain performances of other actors that you're really influenced by, just doing something to kind of hone your craft and improve on it and everything. So the more you do that in that creative sphere, the better. So for me, same thing with directing and writing, just writing stuff and studying films and everything. So consistency and doing it as much as you can, for me, has worked well.
Yeah, I love that. I think
Yeah.
that's great advice too, because I
Thank
especially think as creatives, what we do is we get inspired. So we'll go
Absolutely.
really hard for a week and then not work on our craft.
And then, and then it goes stagnant or you feel lazy. It's
Mhm.
like trying to be consistent,
Mhm.
especially if you blow up from something. That's even the most important thing, really riding that consistency and making sure that you don't dip back down or something. you
Yeah.
know? So yes, consistency. That's huge.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, Michael, could
Yes.
you tell us how you fell into the world of filmmaking? Kind of your backstory.
Yeah. So nobody in my family is in the film business. My younger brother did do some screenwriting. He's not in the business anymore, but my dad would show me a lot of classic films growing up, a lot of the film noirs and the Hitchcock films and Twilight Zone TV show, from the 60s. And I loved seeing them. And I said, this is what I kind of want to do. I want to tell stories. I want to do stuff like that. So I got into creative writing. I actually did some theater when I was really young, like some musical theater. And that was fun. But as I got 15, 16, 17, I was like, I want to be behind the camera. I want to write these stories. And I kind of never looked back. Started with a few shorts in college and kind of built my way up from there.
Where did you go to film school?
San Diego State. So yeah, San Diego State. Lived there from 05 to 09. And I loved it. I mean, it was a bachelor's in television, film, and new media. That's what it was. But it was great. But like with a lot of things, being even on my first short film sets and directing that, sometimes you learn more doing that than any film classes can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying I can advocate towards, you get an education, you learn that stuff. But I feel like with film, being out there, being on set, even starting as a PA and working your way up or whatever it may be, I think that you learn more than just in a lot of film classes, at least in my experience. So, but I had a great time there. I had a great time. It's beautiful down there.
I totally agree, though. I think that you learn a lot by doing.
Yes.
A lot of the time, as opposed to it's great to take in information and things like that, but
Yeah.
sometimes, especially with filmmaking, where there's not exactly a set of rules,
I know.
all the time. So it's just kind of you do the thing and learn as you go.
And there's certain things that you almost can't learn until you're on set. Little nuanced things, how people operate, certain words, jargon, whatever it may be. You see how it is instead of a teacher saying, "Hey, this is it." No, you're actually there. you know, you're there, you're in the thick of it. So I agree, and usually it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's good there. So yeah.
Did you always know that you wanted to write as well, or was directing more of the
No,
passion
so
at first?
writing was the first thing for me.
Okay.
So I would just, I always, even as a kid, kept a journal, you know, journal of like what I did that day or something like that. So writing was first, but as I got older, I'm like, I want to take these stories and put it onto the big screen or screen. So yeah, writing came first, then directing, and I guess producing as well. So yeah, but I feel like a lot of them go hand in hand too. So I direct most of the stuff that I write. So it's great.
And speaking of which, can you chat with us about some of your recent projects? I know we did the Charisma Killers and then also Censor Addiction. So if you just want to touch on those two films.
Yeah, so Charisma Killers is probably going to get released later this year. We just basically sent all the last final deliverables to the distributor. So now it's in their hands to do. We have the trailer that's going to get released. We have all that. I know it's taken a little bit longer, but you know, the devil's in the details with deliverables, with getting it right. We shaved down the film a little bit because I felt like it needed to be tightened a little bit more. It's at a great place right now. So now it's in the distributor's hands. So that's that. And then we're in post-production of Censor Addiction. So I've seen a bunch of scenes already. I really like it, but we still have to do color, VFX, music. We're still in the early stages of post-production with that. So I think it's going really well. You know, I'm excited to see all the pieces come together. You know, every time that my editor shows me a new clip or a new thing, I get excited. You know, shout out to Fabian, who also shot it and is editing it. So he's a great guy too.
Do you work with the same team typically when you're doing films at this point?
A lot of the time, yes. You keep the ones that you really, really like working with, and then some that you don't, you know, maybe you keep them on ice for a little bit, or you maybe hit them up after. But my core team I really like so far. And like, for example, my cinematographer was the same one for Charisma Killers and Censor Addiction, a bunch of my actors. So yes, I mean, because good people are hard to find sometimes in this business. So when you have somebody that you just gel with, that's great. You know, that's what you want. So yes, I like that.
Can I ask you, so was Charisma Killers the first feature you'd ever done?
No.
Okay, what is the first? Can you tell us the story of the first feature you ever
did? It depends. It's I co-directed a found footage horror film, technically before my first solo directed feature film, but my full completed solo directed feature film was this film called Misogynist. I know, kind of gritty, dark kind of drama thriller, and I did that right when I think I turned 25. And that was a while ago. That was 2013.
Did you write it as well?
I did write it.
So
I wrote it, directed, and helped produce it. So I think, Charisma is my 8th feature film, I believe, and Censor's my 9th. So yeah, done
your rounds.
Quite a few. Yeah, made my rounds, and it's not easy. It's not easy to make. It's a miracle to make any film. It really is, short or feature, but feature, I mean, even more, because it's not, hey, we're shooting a day or two, now we're wrapped. Usually features are, at least a couple weeks, if not more, even indie features. So, so I had done quite a few, but I feel like these last two could be my best.
Which would make sense, you get better as you go along in your career.
Absolutely, yes.
I'm curious though, so if we're going back to Misogynist, after you completed your first feature, what did you learn from doing that? What were some things that you were like, this went well, this did not go so well?
Just having the right team, and in pre-production, not rushing things. I have really long pre-productions, 5, 6, 7 months, and I mean, it's long, but I would rather have that long than literally rush it. And I've rushed a few of my features back in the day, and it didn't turn out as well, because it snowballed and you weren't as well prepared. So yeah, I mean, that was important to learn. Pre-production, getting the right team, that's super important.
Can I ask you, what does your day-to-day look like as a director? Because I bet, you know, like just when you're writing projects, but you're also wrapping up your other projects, you're in pre-production for future things. How do you kind of balance all of that?
Yeah, very good question. I'm always in one stage or another, whether it's pre-filming or post. So I balance it and I try to stay productive even with kind of my side hustle is renting out a lot of prop weapons and film equipment to others. I rent them out to other indie filmmakers, people doing music videos, all of that, because as you kind of know, I do a lot of action films, so I have a lot of prop weapons. So if I'm not actively shooting and they're just sitting there, why not?
That's really smart,
rent them
actually.
out. No, and it's great. And you know, I even do deliveries sometimes if they want, like, hey, Mike, you know, for a little extra fee, I will drive over and deliver it, and I'll show them how it works, the whole bit, safe, responsible. But that's what I do. It was the side thing during a little bit of the quieter times. But yeah, I always try to actively be, I'm either pre-filming or post. So every day is different. Right now, I'm very heavily into post right now because Censor Addiction's in post. I'm giving my notes back to my editor. I'm looking at it, everything. But yeah, sometimes the most exciting is when you're in that pre-production. You're about to film. And filming, of course, is a lot of fun. So yeah, every day is different.
Yeah. I feel like that's for any creative. It's the same thing with actors where it's like, I know people are like, what's your day-to-day like? And it's like,
every day is different. Every day is different. I could never do the 9 to 5 as well. I've done the jobs, the retail jobs, all of that. And it's, hey, there's nothing wrong with it. I just knew that I couldn't be in that cubicle 9 to 5 a day job. It's not how I was programmed. It's not how I was meant to operate.
Yeah.
No disrespect for people who do it. It's not me.
It's not me. I think that's most creatives.
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm curious too. A lot of the time what we'll talk about on here is like, and you kind of touched to this a little bit, but like day jobs or like side hustles for creatives, because obviously it's really expensive being a creator and you have to, you know, make a living while also pursuing your dreams. So could you talk to us about maybe some day jobs you did earlier on? I know you touched on like retail, and then kind of things that you do on the day-to-day now.
One of the coolest day jobs, or one that I had a lot of fun with, was I was an usher at the Hollywood Bowl. Actually, I really was. I was for a few years in high school and also during the summers in college. So obviously I'm LA born and raised, so during the summers would come up back to LA, and I was an usher and I saw a lot of bands and everything, and it was a lot of fun. That was great. To be honest, speaking candidly, probably the worst day job was right after college. I worked for a few months at this place called My Gym. I'm not trying to tear them down, but it was not for me. It was basically working with super little kids about like doing puppet shows and like teaching them how to do little exercises. It just was not for me. It was not for me. And then I worked at Banana Republic as well in college. So just doing retail stuff, selling. That was okay. It was okay. But yeah, I mean, as we know, as creatives, we do that, but we do that mostly for the pay, to be able to do the creative things, to be able to afford living, headshots, acting classes, a million things, because we're investing in ourselves that way. We need a little bit of capital, all of that. So those are some of the ones that I had, but Hollywood Bowl was probably the most fun.
Yeah, that does sound fun.
That was great. And I got to see all of the concerts. Like once we showed everybody up, we were basically positioned there, you know, make sure if anybody has any questions, but we were basically able to enjoy the concert or the performance for the rest of the night, which was cool.
Yeah, that's so fun.
Yeah.
Day jobs too, I think they're character building too. You know, as creatives, life experience is good. They give you good life experience.
Yes.
So.
Oh yeah, and even networking, and you never know,
it's true.
And all that. So, and some people have been discovered that way, waiting on tables or hostessing or doing whatever, and they're like, oh, okay, hey, it's building relationships. It's just getting along with people. They like your vibe. You never know what can happen.
Yeah.
You know what I think.
I am curious, what draws you to action? Because I feel like all of your films have kind of had like an action element to them that I've that I've seen for the most part.
It's interesting. I've segued a lot more into action heavy films, but it's interesting. I've done mostly every genre there is. I've even done a quirky comedy called Crunchy Leaves about a really cute, so atypical of my thing. There's no swearing, there's no blood, there's no anything, and it's about two people that find love through stepping on crunchy leaves. They bond. It's super cute.
Where's it at? Where can people watch
it's
it?
It's a short film. It's actually on YouTube.
Okay. Oh, great.
And you can see, but it's very like light-hearted, everything, and I did that. But action, I grew up watching a lot of the 80s and 90s action films, you know, the Commandos, the Die Hards, the Predator, all of that stuff. And I mean, I loved it, you know, is the obviously the guy in me, and I just loved choreographing action. Is like almost like a ballet, a more intense ballet, and there is an art to it, and you can really it's just, I don't know, it's something that speaks to me a little bit. I think I'm so influenced by that, and just growing up, and it feels nostalgic for me, so I try to bring it back, you know. So yeah, and I'll probably continue to do it.
Okay, so let's say that we have like a young filmmaker out there. They wrote their first feature script.
Yes.
Now what do? They have no idea what to do. They're like, I wrote this beautiful script, I want to make this into a movie. Like, what do I do now?
Look, I mean, it's the hardest thing, right? There's no one right way to do it. I mean, everything from people crowdfunding to asking friends and family, hey, can you help donate? Can you help do that? I mean, it's really, really difficult. For my first feature that I did, I basically invested most of it all myself. You know, I had a little bit in the bank that I had saved up from jobs, from this, from that. It was ultra low budget. I wrote it knowing it was super contained. See, that's the other thing. You have to write it knowing, am I able to do this? Is there a car driving into a helicopter? You know, is it, you get what I'm saying? Or is it more contained? Do I have certain people? I know some people that have shot a film over the space of a year just on weekends, you know, or something. So there's no one right way to do it. I would just say, make sure you have the right script, one that you really believe in and that you know. And then in terms of the raising the capital and all of that, there's no one right way. Before I made my first feature film, I went through about 6 months of developmental hell, going through close calls, people promising this, that, and the other. It didn't happen. And I didn't go the Kickstarter crowdfunding route. I was thinking about it, but I didn't. I just said, you know what? I got a little bit of extra money. Got to sell a few stocks, got to do certain things. Let me save up a little bit more. Let me make this happen. We shot it in 7 days.
Wow.
7. Because that's all I could afford.
Yeah.
And we made it happen. I don't know how we made it happen, but we made it happen. So it is not easy. It's a whole other animal. But yeah, I mean, hopefully that was there's not one right answer, unfortunately. Or else everybody would do it. If there was a perfect answer, boom, everybody would do it. Yeah. Just like if there was a perfect distributor. And that's still an Achilles heel, you know, right distributor is very tough. But yeah, there's no right way to do it.
Yeah, no, I love that though. Pave your own path kind of thing. Yeah, figure out, go through your options.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now that we talked about distribution a little bit, I saw that the Charisma Killers signed with Desk Pop Entertainment for their distribution. Can I ask you, like, what is that process like, and why did you ultimately decide to go with them?
Getting the right distributor is so important, and I've been with some great ones, and I've been with some of the worst distributors you've ever seen, where you see no money back ever. Or, you know, they BS and they say, oh no, we're still recouping, or it's a slow month, blah, blah, blah. They're not transparent. So now with any new distributor I go for, I ask a few of my close other filmmaking friends who have maybe gone with them, hey, have you heard of this company? Have you worked with this company? So there were a few trusted colleagues that said good things about this distributor, and I talked to them, and, you know, I liked what I was hearing. So hopefully, knock on wood, they're good, and they're good with communication. I've liked what I've been dealing with so far, but getting a distributor, it can be so tough for an indie filmmaker, because you do so much to get it out there, and then you hope that it's the right distributor, and a lot of the times it's not, or it doesn't do as well, or they take all the money up front, or they are still saying, hey, we're recouping it. And they're not, but they're not going to show you the books and all of that. So that's kind of the dark side of that part. So I feel good about this one. Got good referrals, and hopefully it'll do well.
Can I ask you, if you're comfortable answering this, have any of your films left you like with nothing, where you didn't make any money back from them? Yeah.
Oh yeah. There were a few, to be honest with you, that it was such a jaded experience that it made me almost question doing this business anymore. It was that bad. There was one example where we had to fix a couple of little QC problems, the quality control problems. They didn't want me to go with my team to fix it. They wanted to go with their own post house or something like that.
The distributor?
Yes.
I see.
And believe me, they didn't hook me up with anything. They didn't go halfway on it. So essentially, because people, and they'll give you certain reduced rates, or they'll help out. I basically ended up spending an extra $20,000 to get it right to them. And you want to know how much money I got back from them? So if I didn't do that and put it on YouTube for free, I would have saved $20,000 on that. Those are those type of things that make you jaded.
Yeah.
And again, I'm somebody that, and I appreciate you letting me speak candidly about this. I'm not going to sugarcoat this business. I'm not going to say it's all sunshine and rainbows. We all know that it's not, but there are a lot of things that do make you jaded. And that's why I always say this: take a break, but don't quit. If you need to take a break, you need to take a sabbatical, you need to take a little bit of time off, soul search a little bit, no problem. Don't ever throw in the towel. But the more that I've learned and the more that I've experienced this business, if you need to take a little break or put your foot off the gas just for a little bit, do it. Mentally do it.
Yeah. Because
this business will tear you up. There's no other way of putting it than that. I don't mean to get all serious with this, but when I saw that, and when that, and I just, look, $20,000 is a ton of money for most people. That can be over a year's rent for some people, or maybe not in California, but you get what I'm saying.
For sure.
It's still a lot. It's at least 6 months rent, So my point is, it's tough. So yes, I have had those experiences. I've had those experiences where the minute that it gets released, the distributor goes ghost, doesn't even respond to your email. Oh, it's terrible. Doesn't even respond to it, doesn't respond anything, your phone calls, nothing. So that kind of says all you need to know about them. And you never work with them again, but sometimes the damage is done because they have your film now.
Yeah. So
it's tough.
Are you typically, and forgive me if this is a silly question, but sure, are you typically paying the distributor to distribute your film, or is it the opposite?
No, you never pay the distributor up front. Anytime a distributor will ask for money up front, what they do is they take a percentage off the top, anywhere from 20 to 35%, which is a good amount. The problem with a lot of this is that a lot of distributors won't be transparent about things. They will claim, we're still recouping this, that, and the other. And you kind of have to take their word for it, because they're not going to show you their books, so to speak, or what numbers they're trying to do. So that's why, you always want to put a certain cap on expenses with distributors. Like, hey, this is how much you can spend on stuff. After that, no. Or else you're never going to see a dollar back. So, no, you don't pay them up front, but they do take a fee. And certain things that maybe you won't be able to do, they'll take care of it for like a chargeback, like they're gonna recoup it if they had to do the trailer, if they had to do something.
I see.
So, but believe me, it can still leave you with getting nothing, you know.
And when they're taking money off of the percentage or whatever,
Yeah.
like, are they getting money per person that watches it, or how does
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
I
certain
see,
thing,
okay.
or territories kind of overseas internationally. If a country in Europe and Asia, wherever, buys it out, or hey, we sold it to China for $10,000, something like that. You know, they take a certain percentage, but they're recouping their expenses plus taking the fee. You know, because then they have to go to certain film markets, and they're saying we had to travel this, that, and the other. We had to make a promo poster, whatever it is. So that's kind of how it is. But I do know a lot of indie filmmakers who are very jaded by distributors. I don't know one indie filmmaker who has never had at least one bad experience with a distributor. Everybody has had at least one bad experience. Yeah.
And can I ask you, like, specifically after that moment when you lost that 20 grand and you were
Yes.
like, okay, do I even like want to do this anymore because I don't know if I can take this again? What brought you back to it? What made you realize, like, okay, yes, I can keep going?
It's just my love for the art. I always say it, I hate the business, I love the art. I love creating stories and working with my actors and everything. I love that. It's worth it for me. Film is a speculative investment. Film is not like real estate or certain brokerage stuff where you can even put a lot of your money into a certain account and just live off the interest. It's not like that. You can lose a lot of money in film. But I love the art of it. I wouldn't be happy being just a real estate agent and all that. And I have friends who even do that as side hustle, and they do creative stuff, and that can be good. Buying into real estate, perfect, beautiful. It's mostly only going to go up, even when there's ebbs and flows in it. So, but film, it's tougher, but it's the art of it. I love directing my actors, and I love writing my stories so much that I'm like, you know what? I take a loss, or I'm breaking even, or I'm doing something. I need to keep doing that. Mm-hmm. But I needed a little bit. I needed a break. I did need a little break. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think that's great advice too, though, about the taking a break and not being afraid to take a step back. Because I think sometimes there feels like a pressure, like you said, that if you stop, you just have to completely give up. And it's like, no, you can take a step back and travel, relax for a minute, like, do whatever.
Mental health is super, super important. How the core of your being is. You need to be sure. Stress is the worst, and we all get stressed. We get stressed. I get stressed, but like, take a little break. Just focus on you. It's always going to be there. Film's always going to be there. But yeah, you have to take a break, and taking a break is not quitting. It's not quitting. So, yeah.
I also feel like too, taking a break ends up being productive in the long run too, because you come back full, you come back with vision, you come back with a new love.
Absolutely. It's super important to do, and I find myself, I always felt like, I need to make a film every year, feature every year, and the difference was, I think, a year and a half this last one, and it was fine. I didn't need a rush. So yeah, just take your time. That's what I think.
Can I pick your brain a little bit, if you're comfortable talking about like getting investors for films and the process of that, what that looks like, who are the right people to go to, that kind of thing?
It's the toughest thing in the world. I think that a lot of it is a little bit of luck too.
Okay.
I think a lot of it's right place, right time, but it's also building up. The films. What do you have to show for it? Remember, a lot of investors, high net worth people that want to, take a stab at it, they're investing in you as well. They're not just investing in the project, they're investing in you, your vibe, your aura. What are you about? All that. One of my last investors, great guy, I got referred by a good friend, and we all had a dinner one time, and just at the dinner, we didn't even talk that much about film, but we just vibed. We got along so well. We were talking about so many different things, and we were just like, hey, you're a good guy. Like, we got along, and it just built from there. I never try to push too much and I'm also very, very transparent. And I say, look, just like with a lot of things, there could be a chance you might not see a dime back, and you have to be okay with it. And, one reason or another they are, or they believe in it, or they, all of that. But I do not BS. I do not say, yeah, first quarter, you're going to get this much back. There's no point in doing that. Again, film is speculative. They still obviously get their credit on the film. They're helping out. They're seeing it all come. Obviously, we all want to make money, but you cannot BS these people. You can't. So in terms of finding them, that's right. The golden question. A lot of it. In a weird way, this is why social media is important. I found one of my investors on social media. You post, people see what you're doing, at least that you're staying active, and they get excited about it. Or they might know somebody. They say, hey, Mike, that looked really good. What do you got next in the pipeline? I know somebody that might. Social media is important. Like, it can be obnoxious and annoying sometimes, but it really is. I've cast people based on people I've met that way. It's important. So networking, referring, super important. Yes. That's what I think.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's such great advice too, not to BS people.
Don't
and then
BS
just to
people.
build relationships, and you never know what will come of that.
And even if they can't help you on one, you never know if they're going to help you on another, or it's still good to have that door open. But just remember, again, they're investing in you as well. So if they don't like you or anything, why would they want to invest in something? It starts with you. You're selling yourself as a person. I didn't mean that in like a bad way. You're not selling yourself, but you're selling yourself. They're believing in yourself, who you are as the artist. So yeah, that's important.
I would love to ask you now what your process is for writing, because I even hear so many actors all the time, and so many people that are like, oh, I want to start writing, but I don't know how.
Every writer is different. I do it in short, controlled bursts where I will sit down. It starts with the characters for me, and then I put them in the world, and I see where it kind of goes, and I write for maybe 30 minutes at a time. Then I need to take a break. I'll take a walk. I'll do whatever, and then I come back. I can't write for 6 hours uninterrupted. It can't work for me. So short, controlled bursts, but I always kind of know what's around the corner. So I have a little rough outline, but sometimes I don't know how it's going to end when I start it. I don't. So everybody's different. I can't write at a Starbucks or a coffee shop. It has to be in my room for some reason. And while I'm writing, I don't listen to music. It's too much of a distractor for some reason. I don't know. For me.
Yeah.
For me. But everybody's different.
So you need to be in solitude and silence.
Yes, I do.
Interesting.
No distractions. Don't have the
That makes
TV
sense.
on. Not looking at YouTube. Nothing like that. Yeah.
And then is it more of a discipline for you? Do you tell yourself, okay, Monday through Friday, I'm going to write for 30 minutes a day? Or is it just you write when more so uninspired? Or both?
The second one, mostly that. But when I'm writing or when I'm starting a script, I do write a little a day. I don't care if it's half a page for one day. I will write every day until it is done. Literally every day until it's done. Even if, like I said, half a page, quarter of a page, whatever, I will do it. And then sometimes I'll write 5 pages in a day, which is a good amount. So every day is different, but I do write a little a day. Yeah.
Are you usually writing chronologically?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. I don't jump around. I always start. Here's the first scene, second, third, fourth. Always.
What is the thing that you think holds most filmmakers back?
Lack of belief. Lack of just, they get kicked down one time and they want to throw in the towel already. Too thin-skinned to know you're going to get rejected. You're going to have people say no to you. You're going to have people, unfortunately, some people be harsh to you on social media or tear you down or anything. And you have to it used to get to me more. Thankfully, I never really had that too much. But if somebody didn't like my film or this or that, it used to kind of get to me. Now it doesn't anymore because there are people who hate Godfather and Citizen Kane and, you know, Gone with the Wind and all of that type of stuff. Like, you are not going to please everybody. And these people, a lot of the people who really want to get personal and tear it down, they have their own issues that they're working on. So I think you just have to be confident in yourself and know that it's very rare for you to, hey, first thing that you've done, blowing up like crazy. Like, you have to go through the journey. You have to go through that. You have to go through the trials and tribulations, but you have to believe in yourself. You have to know your worth. Once you do that, you can keep it going.
I would love to hear, what do you look for in an actor? Like when you're casting for your movies?
So a lot of people think nowadays it's all about social media or followers or this or that. Can that help in a little bit? Yes, but at the same time, again, the older I've gotten, the more I'm like, I just want really, really good actors. I want actors that take direction well, that listen, that aren't prima donnas with stuff, that don't have an unhealthy ego with things, that want to maybe ask me certain nuanced questions about the character and everything. Somebody that when I send them a script, it doesn't take them a full month to get through. I mean, you know, we all get busy, but, you know, that. And somebody who, when they say, I'm going to send a self-tape this day, they do. And just somebody that won't drive me nuts every day on set and all of that. And somebody that I feel comfortable with directing and vice versa. And just somebody who's willing to listen, willing to make strong choices and all of that, and willing to really flesh out the character even more before we even film, meeting up, talking about it, creating the backstory, why, you know, all of that. So sometimes there'll be times where I'll call the actor the character's name. Sometimes say, hey, you know, this, that. I don't go totally method all the time, but I'll go there depending on it. You know, even just to, not test isn't the right word, but just make sure that they're comfortable with that they can go with that, you know, because then it makes me feel better about it. So yeah, just somebody that loves their craft and that takes it seriously.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So you like to work with your actors on crafting
100%.
Okay.
And again, backstory and little things, and them asking me questions. Yeah. Why is this person doing this? Everything. Love it. I'm old school like that. I meet up with them, I talk to them, I do whatever. That's what needs to be done. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like you don't see that as much these days, too.
Because I'm an actor's director. I love building that, especially because these are the characters that I've written. That's the other thing. So I'm very protective over my characters. I want to make sure that they are given justice, and you know, justice is done through the actor that I choose to play the role that I wrote.
What are some ways that you stay sane in this crazy business?
So, again, very good question. I am close with my family, close with my brother. I have a select group of friends that I'm close with and I see and all that. I take walks every day, or at least I try to. It's hot right now, you know, so I have to wait until it's a little bit, you know, it's cooled down. Yeah. But I love taking walks and hikes. It's very therapeutic for me. I just kind of have me and my thoughts, and it's good exercise. I get my steps in, which is good too. And just watching random comedies, different movies than even I do, and just relaxing and doing that type of stuff. Obviously the beach is beautiful, you know, just outdoors and stuff like that, just collecting my thoughts and everything. But yeah, my walks are very needed. All that. I mean, I like when it stays light out late like it is now, but it's perfect for me to walk even around 7 at night when it's still light a little bit, but it's cool. Yeah. I don't get burnt. And it's nice. I take it, I feel good. I walk around my area or wherever it may be, take a little hike. Love it. So that keeps me sane a little bit. And yeah. Yeah, because you need to stay. It's very easy to tip over and let the anxiety and stress get the better of you. 100%. So to people watching, you know, you need to find certain outlets to make you stay sane. Do not ignore the stress and anxiety. Look how you can channel it to feel better about it, and surround yourself with, again, good people. Don't be around people that drag you down or pull you down. There's no point, you know. And anytime you're worried about something that's gonna happen, or you have anxiety about this, that, and the other, more times than not, usually it's okay once it happens. It's the waiting, and it's the build up that's the worst, because I like to get things done right away too. When I know there's something I gotta get done that's gonna stress me out, get it done. The waiting's the worst, but when it happens, usually you're good. It's not, your mind builds it up as sometimes worse than what it's going to be. So I that's something that I've tried to learn a lot as well with me.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so powerful. Just reframing that stress and anxiety.
Because it can, and there are things that stress the heck out of me. And I'm like, oh man, I'm stressed about this certain thing that's going to happen, whatever. But then when it happened, it's not too bad. Not too bad. It was mental. So much is mental, and everything in life, and everything is so. Even acting wise, performance, creativity, everything. It's just, you have a good mental frame of mind and a sound, healthy state of mind. That's you're ahead of the game.
Yeah, it makes it so much more enjoyable too, because like you were saying, I feel like to those moments we stress about, the actual moments are few and far, so you can be in that stressful state for so long. But it's such a superpower if you figure out how to channel that, how to release that.
And I haven't conquered it completely. I haven't. I've tried to go. It's really hard to. But again, certain therapeutic things that you can do, taking certain walks, whatever it may be. But getting to that point, absolutely right.
I also think too, just like reminding yourself that there's a lot we can't control.
Correct.
Yes, there's a lot we can control, but so often I think the things we're stressing about are stuff that's like completely out of our control. Like you've done everything you can, and now you just need to let it.
And just knowing that sometimes your mental health and sanity is worth it more than there's some fights that you need to pick, and you know all that, but then there's a lot of fights that not, and it's not worth the headache. It's not worth the mental anguish. Sometimes you just either have to let it go or say, hey, you know what, maybe I'm losing this battle a little bit, but at least I'm keeping my mental sanity. At least I can push it aside and learn from it and move on from it. That's what I thought.
One final question before I always end with 5 random rapid fire questions, so we'll do that.
Hit me with it.
First, I would love to just ask you if you want to end with just some advice to young filmmakers that you have.
You want to look in the camera? No.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you want me to?
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah. For young filmmakers, so like directors, writers, producers, just again, work on your craft and don't be discouraged when things don't go your way all the time. Surround yourself with other fellow artists, and don't be afraid to ask people with more experience, like maybe me or other people. Reach out, ask questions, stay hungry with it, but don't give up. Take a break, but don't give up when it's tough. So, and reach out to those that might have more experience. For me, I do the same thing. I don't know it all. I'm far from that. So I will reach out to people who have more experience and all that for advice, but never be afraid to reach out to people.
Yeah, I love that.
That's what I would say. Yeah.
I guess before we hop into the rapid fire too, is there anything that you want to touch on, or any like misconceptions you feel like you want to hit, or questions that you feel like you get asked a lot, anything like that?
That's a good question too. This business is not easy. And if you're doing it just for the fame or for the money or for this or that or the mansion in Beverly Hills, all that, you're in for a rude awakening. And it's not to downplay or be a downer to it. It's just put in the work. We can manifest things, we can do all of that, but put in the work for it. It's not easy. I've been doing this for 17 and a half years, which is a long time, since I was 19, and I'm not at the place where I want to be, but there will be others, or I take a step back and I say, well, you know, I've done 9 feature films. That's pretty awesome, you know, but I'm still hungry for more.
Yeah.
But it is not easy
Mm-hmm.
at all. So not like that's a misconception, but I think that it will take more work and time than you may think.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's something I would say.
Yeah.
Not to say it's not possible. You can totally blow up and be the next big thing and all of that, but you got to put in the work and know that it could take time.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think too, sometimes we like look at people, and it's so funny, we say this all the time, but it's like 10 years for an overnight success, you know? Or it's even like actors, people will be like, wow, they popped up out of nowhere. One I always think of is like Sydney Sweeney. She was like 23 when Euphoria popped out. Everybody's like, where'd she come from? And it's like, if you go back, she was like a child actor. She did Law and Order when she was like 10. It's like years and years. And it's the same thing with a lot of directors. They'll seem like they pop up out of nowhere, and it's like, nah, but you didn't see all the weird little films they were doing before that. You know?
They paid their dues. Overnight success is, there's more to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to it than that. You know, there might be the extreme exceptions, but no, they've put in their work.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I also loved too what you said about like being proud of yourself for where you're at, but also staying hungry for the future. Because I think we can forget to do both of those things. Forget to look and be like, okay, I've done all of this and that's amazing, but also I have further to go. And so finding that balance between, yes, celebrating yourself, but also not getting complacent.
And that was the word that I was going to use, complacent. You don't want to be stagnant with it. You want more, but also knowing that you've come far too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's both of those.
I also loved, you mentioned not like just trying to manifest something, and I want to touch on that because I feel like that's just such a big thing right now. I do think positive thinking is so powerful. Like manifesting that stuff's great, but you're right, you have to put in the action too, because I swear I'm always seeing people on TikTok that are like just like laying in their rooms all day, like manifesting these careers and stuff. And I'm like, girlfriend, we gotta like...
Right, you gotta do stuff. You can... Look, positive reinforcement, positive thinking can be important, you know, all that. But if you're just sitting there, hey, universe, give me the handouts, it's not, it doesn't work that way. You have to put in the work. You have to hustle, you know. So yes, we're similar that way.
Yeah,
totally,
take aligned action.
Yes.
Okay, are you ready for Fast for Survive?
I am. I have to just say them quickly, or
it's 5 rapid fire questions that require a lot of thought. So it's kind of like a... Yeah.
I'll try to be quick with it.
We'll see.
Yes.
Favorite quote?
Oh, man. Oh, no, you can't hit me with that. That one always gets to me. Favorite quote in a movie of all time?
What's the first thing that pops in your head?
Oh, man, that is so tough. Wow, I can't believe you stumped me. Hold on, this is really... I usually am able to say about anything. Favorite quote? Man. Well, there was a quote in one of my films that said something like, to the effect, I'm butchering it a little bit, where family is the last binding straw of a man, no matter how many years has gone by. You know, so it's interesting about, even if you've been separated from your family so long, or family maybe can be friends with something to the core. There's that, and that was in a film that I did that I think is my best film currently released, Shadows, and yeah. So somebody says that, so I don't know if that counted. I'm sorry, you caught me off guard with that one.
That was good, and obviously we haven't had anybody say that one yet, because you're
okay.
Ready,
that's good.
So that was good.
Yes.
Question number 2: what is your favorite show and your favorite movie, or one of your favorite shows, one of your favorite movies?
Favorite movie is called The Seventh Samurai. It was a 1950s Japanese film. It's an amazing thing about a poor village that's getting ransacked by bandits, and they have to hire 7 samurai to, protect the village. Amazing film, hugely influential, influenced so many directors and everything. Incredible film. Favorite show that's really tough. I was going to say Game of Thrones minus the last season. Breaking Bad is, of course, another incredible one. Sopranos is, but I also love The Office. At least the first 5, 6, 7 seasons. Yeah, I know that's not one, but there you go. Yes.
Question number 3: what is a character you relate to?
Ooh, in a movie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that is so tough. I'm gonna hit you with a really, really interesting one.
Okay.
That's gonna throw you off, but I don't think I've ever said this one, but just hear me out on this. The young priest in The Exorcist, in the first Exorcist.
Okay.
Random as all hell. I'll explain why. He had a lot of crosses that he had to bear in that film. That he had a lot of the past that he dealt with, and he kind of, you know, we have to make certain sacrifices in life, and obviously in that film, sorry, spoilers, he kind of sacrificed himself. Not to say that I'm sacrificing myself that way, but there's somebody that had crosses that they have to bear, that they had to go through a lot. I should have said Andy Dufresne from Shawshank Redemption, because that was
That's a good one.
But I love characters maybe that have been through so much,
Yeah.
and then come clean on the other side, or there's some sort of retribution from it, because nobody's perfect, obviously, and a lot of us have been through a lot of stuff. So I know that was like the most random thing, but rapid fire, had to think of one,
No, I love
because
that.
these are questions I've never been asked.
Mhm.
So it's good.
This next question's really deep.
Ooh, okay.
Pickles, yay or nay?
Which one?
Pickles, yay or nay?
Yes, but I don't have them often. I will
see.
have the pickles that when you get a cheeseburger with fries, sometimes they have the one pickle there. I'll have that, but like whole pickles, diced pickles, I do not have it often.
Yeah.
No. So yes, but not often.
Okay.
Yes. Good question.
Mm-hmm. And then last question, what's a recent obsession of yours?
Ooh. I've always been obsessed, but comic books a little bit.
Okay.
I sell some comics, and I have a few comics. Comic nerd, but I like them. I had to sell a few recently that I didn't want to sell, but I just needed a little bit of free up some money, all that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I have the first, here's my little flex with that, I have the first appearance of Spider-Man. It's Amazing Fantasy 15. Believe me, look it up.
Okay.
Comic book people know that. It's one of the holy grails, and that is my favorite comic in my collection. Because again, Spider-Man's huge.
Yeah.
And it was from 1962. So that's a long time ago. That's history right there.
It's probably worth a lot of money.
It is worth a decent
I'll just
amount.
keep
But I
saving it.
couldn't
Yeah.
sell that one. Yeah. So yes. Obsession.
All right. Any last words?
No, this has been amazing. I've really liked this. Great questions. I appreciate being on.
Yeah.
And like I said, don't give up. Do what you love. Always try to learn more, and surround yourself with good people like you.
Yes.
So,
Ditto.
there you go.
Thanks for being here, Michael.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.